everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we are making this beautiful Think Spring Scarf cowl, I guess. This is such a great project. I had so much fun making it. It is a repeat pattern, so it's kind of mindless after a while. You just get the pattern going and then you can make this as long as you want. The scarf in this tutorial today that I am going to show you turned out to be 54 inches long. We're making it one long flat piece and then we are sewing it. We're going to fold it in half and sew it so it's a cowl. But you can choose to use it as a regular scarf, or you can sew it together like a cowl like I did. So it's 54 inches long, which is 137 centimeters. And the width of it from this side to this side is just 8 inches. So that's 20 centimeters. So it is so simple. I'll get into the supplies and then we'll get into making this piece. So big, huge thank you to Willow Yarns for providing this yarn today. This is Willow Yarns Verbena yarn. This is so beautiful. It's one of my favorites from their line, and they actually have so many beautiful colors, and you can see it is thin and it's similar to a fingering weight. Let me see what the weight, yeah, size 3. So it's very thin. You can see it's a superwash wool and nylon mixture, so it's quite stretchy. And the color that I'm using today is called Rosebush. So if you wanted to get the same exact color as I did, just get Rosebush. But they have so many fabulous colors in this yarn. You can get it online at willowyarns.com, so check them out and get this fabulous yarn. I used 2 balls of this, so 370 yards times 2, 740 yards of yarn, and I actually didn't use all of it. I would say around 700 yards instead, because we are using puff stitches in this tutorial today, and puff stitches, you know, are a yarn eater, so that is, yeah, that's going to be taking up quite a bit of our yarn today. So I got 2 balls of that and it turned out super fabulous. Oh my gosh, I love the color change in this. It's so beautiful. We are going to be crocheting with a G-sized hook. This one is 4.25 millimeters. This crochet hook is so fabulous. It is from the Etsy shop Would Be Fancy, and it's hand carved, ergonomic, so it can fit in the palm of your hand. It can also fit around your hand like this if you crochet similarly to how you hold a pencil, but I crochet like I'm holding a knife, so it really is fabulous to work for long periods of time. Like I said, you can get this at the Etsy shop Would Be Fancy, and there's sales going on all the time. They have international shipping, and there's so many wonderful sets and singles as well. You can also use a scissors and a yarn needle to cut your yarn and sew in your ends. So that is all the supplies we're going to need today. And I told you the measurements. You can check out the crochet pattern is available for free on YARNutopia.com. So make sure you check out the link in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube. The first link will be to the written pattern if you want to follow along with that. And the blog post will have different information in case you want to make this wider or longer. There are notes in the pattern that you can follow along with. So that's all the information I have for you. I have to say a huge thank you again to Willow Yarns for providing this yarn today. Go check them out. Also, a big thank you to my dad back there behind my shoulder who is filming this tutorial, editing all the photos, and posting this up on YouTube for everyone to see. A big thank you to you for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to check out all the links to my social media. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all those social medias I am on. You can see behind the scenes clips of what we do here at YARNutopia headquarters. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Let's get started on this Think Spring Cowl. We're going to start out with a slip knot, so put your short end over your long end, then fold this down and then pull your long end through and pull tight and insert your hook and we can begin. So to start off, we are going to chain 46. Now, if you want your chain to be longer or shorter, just chain any multiple of 6 and then add 4 more chains. So I'm going to chain, 42 and then plus 4 more is 46 chains. So just yarn over and pull through. There's 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to make you watch me chain 46. So just chain 46. That'll get me to an 8-inch wide scarf, and then we'll go on to row 1. Alright, so I chained 46 here, so this is what just a plain chain here. So what we're going to do for row 1 is double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So the loop on the hook does not count as a chain, so count 1, 2, 3, and 4. This 4th chain right here, I am going to yarn over, and then I like to work in the back ridges of my chain. You can work in any loop of your chain, but I'm just going to work in the back ridge, that one loop there. Yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and pull through those other 2 loops on your hook, just like that. That's a double crochet. Now this stitch in the front here does count as a stitch, so it's a chain up 3 stitch there, but that does count as a stitch in this row. So we are going to double crochet into each chain across this piece here. So in each chain just double crochet, and once I finish row 1 it's just double crocheting across, super simple. So we're just going to do that all the way, and then once I finish row 1 I'll come back and we'll go on to row 2 together. Alright, we are going on to row 2 now. I just double crocheted across here. So let's, for row 2 here, we are going to, this is one of our repeat rows. So we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, turn your work around, and now this chain 2 does count as a stitch. It's actually going to count similarly to a single crochet in your work. So keep that in mind. It is worked into this first stitch right here, okay? So we are going to skip the next 3 stitches, which is this next stitch right here. So 1, 2, and 3, and then go into this one. And with my pattern, I kind of got a little confused myself, so I actually just said in the 5th stitch in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that's where we're going to start our work. And we're going to put a V stitch into that stitch right there. So yarn over. A V stitch is a double crochet, so go in there for a double crochet. Okay, then chain 2, 1, 2, and then put another double crochet into that same stitch. And that is considered a V stitch. Okay, now we are going to chain 2, 1 and 2. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches here, and we're going to single crochet into this next stitch right here. So single crochet into there. And then we're just going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And then it comes back to our repeat here. So we're going to skip 2 stitches, okay, V stitch in this next stitch right here. So double crochet, chain 2, and then double crochet back into that same stitch. Okay, and then just repeat. So chain 2, skip 2 stitches, single crochet into the next, then chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and V stitch in the next, and then just repeat. So do that all the way across. If you need to, you can follow along with the written pattern on my website, YARNutopia.com, if this is a little confusing for you. It has it all written out what the sequence is, but I'm just going to do this across, and I'm halfway there, so I'll just meet you up when I go on to row 3. Alright, when you're finishing row 2, you want to finish with a V stitch, and then you have these 3 stitches left. Remember I said this chain up 3 stitch counts as a stitch? So you're going to chain 2 and skip those last 2 stitches, those last 2 double crochets, and you're going to single crochet into the chain up 3 stitch over here. Okay, so go into that chain up 3 stitch and single crochet into there, just like that. Alright, and then we're going to go on to row 3. So for row 3, we're going to chain 4. So yarn over, pull through, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Turn your work around. And what that actually counts as is the first 3 chains count as a double crochet, and then this 4th chain here counts as a chain 1 space. Okay, so it's a double crochet chain 1 is what that counts as. And what we're going to do is first we're going to work into this V stitch right away. And we are going to make puff stitches. So we are going to yarn over. Okay, we're going to make our first puff stitch in here. So first yarn over, go into the chain 2 space here in the V stitch here. Yarn over and pull through. And we're going to do that 4 times so that there's 9 loops on our hook. So yarn over, go back in, yarn over, pull through. You can kind of pull up a little bit. There's 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over, go back in, yarn over, pull through. There should be 7 loops on the hook. And one more time, yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through. There's 9 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through 8 of the loops till there's 1 loop just like that. Okay, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through both of those loops. And that is considered our puff stitch. Now we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to put another puff stitch into the same chain 2 space here. So if you need to scoot this over a little bit, you can. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through. Oops, pull through. There we go. There's 3, here's 5, 7, and 9. Then yarn over, pull through 8 of those loops, leaving there's 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And there's your second puff stitch. Now we're going to chain 2 again, 1, 2, and do 1 more puff stitch in this chain 2 space. 3, 5, 7, 9 loops, yarn over, pull through 8 of those loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And there are 3 puff stitches in that V-stitch. Now we're just going to chain 1. Let me see here. Chain 1. There we go. And I believe we have to just hop to the next one. Let me look at my pattern. Yep, we just hop to the next one. So skip over this single crochet and then hop to this next V-stitch and just repeat. So puff stitch. So just chain 1 after at the last one here. Just chain 1. Hop to your next V-stitch and make your puff stitches. So here's puff stitch, yarn over, pull through 8, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 2, puff stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 2, puff stitch again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, pull through 8, yarn over, pull through 2, and we have 3 puff stitches in that next V-stitch. Let's chain 1 and hop to the next V-stitch and make the same stitches. And do that all the way across, and when I'm on my last one, I'll come back and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, when you finish your last puff stitch like this, we are going to chain 1, and you want to double crochet into this chain up 2 stitch right here. So yarn over, go into the top of the chain up 2 stitch right there, and then just make a double crochet just like that. Okay, and that finishes row 3. Going on to row 4, here I'm just going to show you what it looks like so far. And if you're concerned about stitch counts, you can always check out the pattern that's linked in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube on YARNutopia.com, and you can look up the Think Spring Cowl, and this will come up and you'll see the stitch counts after each row. Going on to row 4 now, we are going to chain up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn your work around. Just like the last row, our chain up 3 here, the 3 chains up front here are a double crochet, and then this next chain here is a chain 1 space. Okay, just like our previous row was the double crochet chain 1. So that's what the chain 4 counts as. So for row 4 here, it says double crochet into the next chain 2 space. So this first space here is a chain 1 space, so skip that. Go into this chain 2 space right here and put a double crochet. So yarn over, go into this chain 2 space and make a double crochet. Okay, just like that. Then we're going to chain 1 and skip to the next chain 2 space right here. And it says to double crochet into this next chain 2 space. Okay, then chain 1, and then it says to double crochet into this next chain 1 space right here. So double crochet in there. Okay, and just repeat. So chain 1, double crochet in this chain 2 space, chain 1, double crochet in this next chain 2 space, and then chain 1, and then double crochet in the next chain 1 space. So basically in every chain space, double crochet. Then chain 1, hop to the next space, chain double crochet in there, chain 1, and just do that all the way across. It's a very simple row here. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll meet you up at the end of this row, show you how to finish row 4, and we'll go on to row 5. Alright, finishing row 4, I'm chaining 1 here. I have to double crochet since this is a chain 1 space before this last double crochet stitch here, or this chain up 3 stitch. We are going to double crochet into this chain 1 space, and then we're going to chain 1, and we are going to double crochet into the chain up 3 stitch. So yarn over, go into the top of the third chain of this beginning chain 4 here, and double crochet into there. You will have 23 stitches at the end, 23 double crochets at the end of row 4, and we can go on to row 5. So let's chain up 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Turn our work around. Okay, so this is what our work looks like here, looking good. So now in this row, we are going to double crochet in this very first chain 1 space. So right in here, we are going to double crochet right in this first chain 1 space. And then we are going to double crochet into the next double crochet stitch right here. So double crochet into the stitch, just like that. And then we're just going to repeat that across. So double crochet in this chain 1 space, and then double crochet in the next double crochet. Then double crochet in the chain 1, and then double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so just a lot more double crochets in this row, just like that. And it's going to look very similar to row 1 down here. Okay, so we're going to double crochet in each chain 1 space and each stitch, and when I'm finishing row 5, I'll come back on screen and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, when you're finishing row 5 here, I'm just double crocheting in this double crochet stitch, and then you can either skip the last chain 1 space and double crochet in this chain up 3 stitch, or you can double crochet into the chain 1 space and skip the chain up 3 stitch. That is creator's choice, that's up to you, but what you want for sure on row 5 and all of row 5 repeats is 44 stitches across here. Okay, so I was at 43 right when I double crocheted into this stitch, and I counted, and I just needed one more stitch. So either in the chain 1 space or in the chain up 3 space, nobody will notice, and you have your 44 stitches across here. So this is what it will look like. And now we are doing a repeat. So what I need you to do now is just rewind to row 2. Okay, when we made the chain up 2 and the V stitches, then chain 2 and the single crochet, that row. So rewind to row 2 and just repeat rows 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so these 4 rows here, 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. These 4 rows, rows 2, 3, 4, and 5, for however long you want to do it for. That is the scarf pattern. So very simple. Just repeat row 2 now when you go on to the row 6 here. And exactly how I had explained it earlier, just rewind and just repeat what we did. So I'm going to do a total of 108 rows on this scarf. Okay, now you can do more or less depending on how long you want to make it, but just repeat these 4 rows, rows 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you can make yours as long as you want it to be. You can do it in a cowl that's going to wrap twice or 3 times around your neck. I'm going to do it so it wraps twice around my neck, and I'm going to turn this into a cowl. So I want to end, because our beginning row is all these double crochets, that's very similar to row 5 repeat. So we want to end on a row that's right before it, which is row 4. So I'm going to end on a repeat of row 4 in my pattern, and that will get me to row 108. Okay, so I have one actually finished on the side here, so I'll show you. I'm just going to move this aside. So just repeat rows 2 through 5, okay, for however long you want to make this. I'm going to set this aside, grab the one that I have finished off camera here, and you can see how lovely the variation of yarn, the color is so beautiful and vibrant. Now I do recommend blocking this because I noticed that it kind of turned a little diagonal for me a little bit. So what I'm going to do is like stretch it out and then block it out. And look at how beautiful. First of all, this yarn is so incredibly soft. It is so lovely. I love the variation of the color change, just ombre look. It's so beautiful. And this is so incredibly soft. I can't tell you enough how awesome this is. So once you finish, however long you want to make this, and I think I have actually a few stitches left on this one to do, so I'm actually going to finish this row. This is my repeat of row 4 here, so my scarf got pretty heavy too. So I'm going to actually finish this row real quick, and I'll come back and I'll show you if you want to turn this into a cowl scarf like I'm going to do. I'll show you how to fasten this off and sew it all together. But if you want it to be just a scarf, you can fasten off after this row or do a repeat up to row 5 and end the way you started. Then you could even add fringe to the ends. It's really creator's choice at this point. So you can just do the repeat of your rows. Rows 2 through 5 are the repeat, and just look at how fabulous that repeat looks with these puff stitches. I love it so much. So beautiful. So I'm just going to finish this row real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, so I just finished that. Like I said, ended on a repeat of row 4 because I'm going to turn this into a cowl. So I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to set this down for a second. I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to cut my yarn quite long actually because we're going to use that for sewing and we're going to sew this together. So we're going to pull it through that chain 1 that we just created and pull tight, okay? And we're going to use this long strand now to sew this together. Now if you want it to be a Mobius scarf, what you want to do here, I'm going to lay this out, you want to first off fold it in half, okay? A Mobius scarf would be if you wanted to have the twist in there, just fold it in half like this and then twist only one of these sides like this and attach right there, and then you'll have a twist in there. Okay, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to sew it like a cowl, just straight like this. And like I said, you can kind of see a little bit that it's a little bit slanted here, so I'm going to try to block this later, but it's kind of slanted for me. I don't know if you can really see it in the video, but it's kind of slanted a little bit. So I'm going to try to block this when I am fully done, but what I want to do is grab my yarn needle here, okay, and we are going to take that long strand and I'm just going to whip stitch this. So very simple whip stitching. I'm making sure that this piece is not twisted because I do not want it to be Mobius, but if you want it to be Mobius, you can definitely twist one side. And then we're just going to go into the very first stitch here and then into both layers. Okay, just like this, and then pull. And then come to this second stitch and the second stitch here and just pull. Okay, always going through the same side. So coming on this side again to this side and pull. Okay, and I'm just going to whip stitch this all the way across. And then when I finish, I'll show you how to fasten off, and we'll have to weave in some ends, and then we'll be done with this beautiful spring scarf. Alright, when you're ready to fasten off, so you can see I whip stitched all the way across here. So when you're ready to fasten off, I'm going to keep my finger in this loop and I'm going to pull this loop, or this, through a couple of stitches here. And just keep my finger in this loop just like this, and then I'm going to come back through that loop just like that, and then pull tight, and that creates a knot. And you can do that once or twice. I'll do that again here. So go in to a couple stitches, keep your finger in the loop, come back through the loop, and pull tight. Okay, and then we're just going to sew in any loose ends that we have. So I'm just going to go underneath some of these stitches with my yarn needle, just like that. Sew it in, come back through underneath a few of the stitches, and pull. And then you can cut any extra, make sure you stretch it out, and then cut any extra you have to hide everything. And there it is. That's a really nice seam too, you can barely see that. And there is the cowl. How lovely. Thank you so much for watching and learning how to make this beautiful spring piece. I think the color is just so fabulous, and it makes me think of spring, and it's nice and lacy, and I love the puff stitches. Big, huge thank you to Willow Yarns for providing this yarn today for this project. I loved using it, and I suggest you get all the Verbena yarns, all the colors that they offer. Go check them out at willowyarns.com. And a big thank you to my dad for filming this tutorial, editing it, and for all the photography. And big thank you to you for watching. Until next time, everyone, happy hooking!